welcome. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Or, I might show up at your door. I'm just here to share some creepy stories, so sit back and enjoy. Disclaimer: the content presented in the video is purely for entertainment purposes only. The theories and stories discussed in this video are speculative and are not supported by any evidence or proof. Viewer discretion is advised. I sit in the dark. The only sound is my own breath, slow, deliberate, controlled. If I listen hard enough, I can hear the hum of something distant. Maybe the wind outside, maybe not. The radio crackles. This is an emergency alert. Repeat, this is an emergency alert. Do not expose yourself to light. Stay in shadows. Avoid all illuminated areas, including artificial sources. If you are in a lit environment, seek darkness immediately. Remain there until further instruction. Then static. I don't move. I don't know how many times I've heard that message. The words feel burned into my skull, looping endlessly. Each time, the voice is the same, calm, unshaken. Like whoever recorded it knew something we didn't. Like they had already accepted what was coming. A battery-powered lantern sits beside me, but I don't dare turn it on. Not after what I saw. Not after what happened to them. I close my eyes. The first broadcast came 2 weeks ago. Maybe longer. Time is harder to track now. It interrupted regular programming. One of those severe weather alert tones that make your skin crawl. The message was strange, short, almost absurd. Stay in shadows. People joked about it at first. Twitter exploded with memes. Conspiracies flooded the internet. The government had lost it. The world was falling apart. And their advice was, hide in the dark? Then the disappearances started. A woman on the news vanished on live television. One moment, she was speaking into the camera. The next, she was gone. No sound, no struggle, just gone. The studio lights remained, shining over the space where she had been. We thought it was a hoax, a glitch, a stunt. Then people began disappearing in broad daylight. No bodies, no blood, just empty clothes where they had been standing. I open my eyes again, blink against the dark. My stomach growls, but I ignore it. Hunger is better than what's outside. There's movement above me, faint, barely there. Something shifting in the floorboards. I stiffen. Could just be the house settling. Could be something else. The radio crackles again, but it doesn't repeat the message this time. Just static. I wonder how many people are still listening. How many are still left? A few days after the first alert, the power grids failed. Not completely, just wrong. Streetlights flickered in broad daylight. Traffic signals stuttered, shifting colors too fast, like they couldn't decide what was real. People who entered well-lit areas were taken faster. At night, the cities never fully darkened. Even with the blackouts, buildings seemed to glow faintly, light without a source. It bathed everything in a dim, unnatural haze, a kind of false day, a trap. I pull my jacket tighter around myself. The basement is cold, but safe. No windows, only one door, barricaded with furniture and whatever I could drag in front of it. My supplies are low, though. Soon I'll have to move. I don't want to. I think about what I saw before I locked myself down here. The last thing before I understood. My neighbor, Alan. He had knocked on my door, screaming, "Let me in. Please, God, let me in." I was too slow. The floodlight above my garage flickered on. For a split second, he was bathed in it. Then he was gone. Not taken, not killed, just erased. The air where he had stood shimmered, rippling like heat waves. Then it settled, and all that was left were his clothes, his shoes, his watch still ticking. I didn't open the door after that. The house creaked again. I gripped the handle of a kitchen knife, my only real weapon. It won't help if they get in, but it makes me feel like I have a chance. The radio crackles one last time. Then the voice changes, a whisper, too faint to make out the words. My grip tightens. The voice sounds wrong, like it's coming from far away, like it's been stretched. I strain to listen. Then the bulb above the basement stairs flickers. My stomach drops. The house lost power days ago. The basement bulb flickers again. A faint pulse of dying electricity. A stutter in the dark. Shouldn't be on. The power went out days ago. I press my back against the cold concrete wall, gripping the knife tighter. The radio is silent now, the static cut off as if it, too, is holding its breath. The bulb buzzes weakly, like it's trying to come back to life. I don't move. For a long time, nothing happens. Then a sound, not the creak of wood or shifting foundation. Something softer, almost liquid. My lungs burn from holding in air. I don't know where the sound is coming from. The stairwell? The bulb? My own head? The dim glow overhead stutters again, and for a split second, the light casts something thin and shifting against the wall. Not my shadow, something else's. Then darkness, total, absolute. The bulb dies completely. I don't wait. I grab my backpack and sling it over my shoulders. It's nearly empty now. Some canned food, a half-full water bottle, the last pack of batteries. Not enough to last. Not enough to stay hidden forever. I have to move. The barricade against the door is heavy. I pull at the furniture slowly, carefully, inching it aside without making noise. My pulse hammers in my ears. The whole house is wrong, off balance, like it's holding itself together through sheer force of habit. Finally, I slide the last chair away and ease the door open. The house is dark. Not normal dark, the kind that makes your eyes strain like something should be there but isn't. The floorboards groan as I step forward. My breath held so tight it hurts. I press my hand against the hallway wall to steady myself. Cold, too cold. Something moved through here. I step past the staircase leading up to the main floor, resisting the urge to look at the dead light bulb above. The front door is locked, barricaded from the other side. I won't risk opening it. Instead, I move toward the back, toward the garage. The hallway is lined with picture frames, but I don't look at them. I already know what's wrong. When the disappearances started, I noticed something off about the photographs. Not at first, but gradually, the people were missing, not blurred or edited out, just gone. The backgrounds remained, the furniture, the landmarks, the streets. But anyone who had disappeared in real life, their image had vanished from the pictures too, like they'd never existed at all. The garage door looms ahead, a thin sliver of dim light cutting under the bottom. I hesitate. My floodlight was still on the last time I saw it. I grip the knife tighter and kneel, peering through the narrow gap. The light is still there, but it's not normal. It flickers too slow, not erratic, not failing, more like breathing, expanding, contracting. I swallow hard and ease the door open. The garage smells like dust and old metal. My car is still here, untouched. I checked the engine days ago, it won't start. The circuits inside are fried. Probably happened when the power grid began failing. The floodlight on the ceiling continues its slow pulse, washing the space in pale, dying light. I avoid it, stick to the edges, move carefully. The garage door has a side exit, a smaller door that leads directly outside. I press my ear against it, listening. Silence. I take a deep breath, then another. Then, finally, I unlatch the lock and step outside. The air is cold and still. The neighborhood is dead. Houses stand empty, windows dark, doors left half open like their owners left in a hurry, or never got the chance. A few cars sit abandoned in the street, their headlights still on, engines running. But there's no one inside, just empty seats, buckled seatbelts, a coffee cup left on the dashboard, like whoever had been sitting there simply ceased to be. The sky above is overcast, heavy clouds blocking the sun, but the light is still there. It filters through, an unnatural gray, neither day nor night. I keep low, sticking to the deepest shadows, moving between houses. My destination is only a few blocks away, an old corner store. If there's anything left, I have to take the risk. The roads stretch too long. The houses look too far apart. Everything feels stretched, distorted, as if the distance is shifting when I'm not looking. I keep my eyes down and don't stop moving. The corner store is still intact. The windows are mostly unbroken, but the fluorescent lights inside are flickering erratically. A death trap. I scan the area. A car is parked outside, door wide open. Someone left in a hurry or vanished. I inch forward and peek inside. Nothing moves. The shelves are still stocked, though some have been overturned, signs of looting, but not much. Most people fled before the broadcast stopped. My heart pounds as I step inside, keeping to the shadows near the aisles. The silence is too deep. I grab a backpack from the racks and stuff it with whatever I can. Canned beans, protein bars, bottles of water. I work quickly, glancing at the flickering ceiling lights every few seconds. I'm almost done when a sound. Something shifts near the back of the store. I freeze. It's faint, almost imperceptible, like clothing shifting against itself. Slowly, I crouch and peer between the shelves. A figure stands near the refrigerators, facing the glass doors, unmoving. Their body is draped in a hooded jacket, obscuring most of their features. But something is off about the shape of them. Too tall, too thin, the proportions wrong. I don't breathe. The fluorescent light above them flickers, pulsing bright for half a second. The figure twitches, not turns, not moves, twitches. A sharp, unnatural jerk, like a marionette with its strings yanked. My stomach clenches. The light dims again. The figure stands still. The realization slams into me like ice. It only moves when the light flickers. The bulb buzzes overhead, flickers. The figure shifts closer. I don't think. I grab the nearest item, a can of food, and hurl it toward the front of the store. The impact is deafening in the silence. The figure doesn't react, doesn't turn. The light flickers and it's gone. I bite back a gasp, my pulse hammering in my throat. Then the store's speakers crackle to life. A voice, distorted, stretched too long, warping in and out, is an emergency alert. Do not expose yourself to light. Stay in shadows. Avoid all illuminated areas, including artificial sources. If you are in a lit environment, seek darkness immediately. Remain there until further instruction. I don't move. Something shifts behind me. The fluorescent lights buzz, and then they flicker on. The fluorescent lights overhead flicker on. A sickly, buzzing white, too bright. I throw myself backward, pressing my body into the nearest aisle. The plastic shelves rattle against my weight. My breathing is too loud, too fast. My brain is screaming at me to move, but I can't. Not yet. Where is it? The last time the lights flickered, the figure was behind me. I don't dare turn around. I strain my ears, listening for any sound of shifting clothes, of movement, of breathing. Nothing, just the hum of the lights. I swallow hard. The overhead bulbs cast harsh shadows across the store. Long, unnatural shadows that stretch in angles that don't make sense. I try to keep my eyes away from them. They move wrong. I grip the knife in my shaking hand, my fingers slick with sweat. I need to get out. The store exit is about 30 feet away. I could run, but if the lights flicker again, I grit my teeth. No time to think. I move. My boots make no sound on the tiled floor as I sprint between aisles. I stay low, ducking beneath the rows of packaged food and broken shelves. My backpack slams against my spine with each movement. Don't look back. I reach the checkout lanes, heart hammering. The entrance is right there. A wide glass door, half broken. It leads into the streets, into the endless dusk. I shove through the doors, stepping into the open air. The cold bites my skin immediately. The sky above is still that gray nothing. Overcast but wrong. Not storm clouds, not fog, just an absence. I don't stop moving. I stick to the shadows of abandoned cars, sprinting across the pavement. My lungs burn. My ribs ache. I don't know where I'm running to. Just away. From what? I don't know. I don't look back. I don't stop running until I reach an alleyway between two buildings. It's darker here. Safe. I press my back against the cold brick and force myself to breathe. Nothing chased me. Nothing followed. I think The streets are silent. The city feels hollow. I shift my grip on the knife, my knuckles white. The bag over my shoulder feels heavier than before. I risk a glance back toward the store. The windows are dark now, but something stands behind the glass. A figure, motionless, too thin, too long. It watches, or maybe it doesn't. I don't stay to find out. The alley leads deeper into the city ruins. The deeper I go, the darker it gets. Good. I don't trust the light anymore. The further I move from the streets, the more warped everything feels. The buildings lean at slight angles, like they're sinking into the pavement. Streetlights flicker even when they have no power. Windows reflect things that aren't there. A world coming apart at the seams. I don't know where I'm going. I need to find somewhere new to hide. The basement at my house isn't safe anymore. Not with the bulb turning on. Not with something moving above me. I grip my knife tighter. I'll find a place. Another house. Another ruin. Something shifts up ahead. I freeze. A single bulb flickers outside a doorway at the end of the alley. Its glow pulses like a heartbeat, casting long, sharp shadows across the cracked pavement. A silhouette stands beneath it, still, unmoving. The light flickers and it's closer. My stomach clenches. It doesn't move when I look at it, only when the light blinks. I take a step back. Slowly, carefully, the bulb overhead buzzes, flickers, is closer. I turn and run. The streets blur past me. My legs scream, my lungs burn, but I don't stop. I zigzag between cars, down sidewalks, ducking beneath dead traffic lights. I don't know how long I run, but eventually I reach an old apartment complex. One of the taller ones in the city. It looms above me, its windows all dark. A safe place, for now. I step inside, my muscles trembling. The lobby is empty, deserted like everything else. Chairs overturned, papers scattered. A half-eaten meal left at the front desk, rotting. Whoever was here left in a hurry, or disappeared. A stairwell leads upward. I take it, moving as fast as my body will allow. I pass the second floor, the third, the fourth. I stop at the fifth. The hallway is pitch black. Perfect. I move carefully, counting the doors with my fingertips. 1, 2, 3, 4. I stop at a door left slightly ajar. I push it open, step inside. An old apartment. Empty, quiet. I lock the door behind me. There are no windows in the bathroom. That's where I go. I shut the door, wedge myself into the corner, and finally let my body collapse. Safe, for now. I close my eyes, breathe. I don't know how long I stay like that. Maybe hours, maybe longer. Then a sound, soft, scraping, something outside the bathroom door. I don't move, don't breathe. The sound stops, silence. Then a light flickers, not in the bathroom, outside, in the apartment, buzzing, pulsing. Something is in here with me. I clutch my knife so tight my fingers cramp. The shadows in the room stretch wrong. The light flickers, a sharp tap at the door. Once, twice, a pause, then a voice, distorted, stretched too long. This is an emergency alert. Do not expose yourself to light. Silence, then stay in shadows. I press my forehead against my knees, my breath coming in sharp, shuddering gasps. The light outside flickers again. The handle of the bathroom door twists, and then the bulb inside the bathroom flickers to life. The bathroom light flickers on, cold, artificial white. I flinch, pressing myself deeper into the corner, my breath trapped in my throat. The knife in my grip feels useless. Nothing can stop this. The door handle twists, once, twice, then it stops. Silence. The fluorescent bulb overhead hums softly. The shadows along the walls ripple slightly, like something just moved through them. My skin crawls. I don't dare breathe. Then a sound. Slow footsteps. Not heavy. Deliberate. Moving away from the door. A slow creak as the apartment's front door opens, then shuts. I listen. Wait. Count to 10. Count to 20. Silence. I don't move for a long time. The bathroom light is still on, but it doesn't flicker. It's steady. Normal. I swallow. My throat feels raw. My body refuses to move, but I can't stay here. Eventually, I force my shaking legs to stand. The apartment is empty. The front door is slightly ajar. Whoever or whatever was here is gone, but I don't trust it. The fluorescent light in the living room buzzes softly. I take a slow step forward, then another. The air feels wrong. My own shadow stretches behind me, too long, like it's trying to drag me back. I scan the apartment. Everything looks untouched. A couch, a TV, an overturned glass on the counter, a rotting meal on the table. Someone used to live here. Used to. I move toward the window. I need to see outside. The city beyond is a hollow graveyard. The sky is still that same gray void, stretching over the world like a suffocating blanket. But there's movement below. I hold my breath and press against the glass. The streets are no longer empty. Figures stand beneath the flickering streetlights. Dozens of them, motionless. Each one is positioned directly under the glow. Too tall, too thin. Their heads tilted slightly downward, as if waiting. The streetlights pulse, and they move, not walking, not turning, just shifting. A dozen feet closer in an instant. My stomach knots. I back away from the window. I need to leave. Now, I don't bother with the front door. I take the stairs instead, moving down as quietly as possible. My body is on fire, adrenaline, exhaustion, fear. I reach the bottom floor and hesitate at the exit. The outside world is too bright. The sky is dim, but the artificial glow of street lamps, of signs, of dead traffic lights still lingers. I don't know what happens if I step into the open. I have to find a path through the shadows. I crouch low, moving along the edge of the building. The street ahead is lined with abandoned cars, their headlights still on. The figures are closer now, standing beneath each flickering light source. Patient, watching, but not moving. Not yet. I step carefully into the alley, keeping close to the wall. The deeper I go, the safer it feels. The light doesn't touch here. Something soft crunches under my boot. I freeze, lower my gaze. A cell phone. The screen is cracked, smeared with something dark, and it's still on. A text message is open. Unknown number. Stay in shadows. The phone flickers, then dies. A slow chill creeps up my spine. The street ahead of me brightens. I look up. A sign above the alley flickers to life, buzzing, glowing. I hear movement, slow, shifting footsteps. Then a shadow pulls beneath my feet. Not mine. I run. The city stretches ahead, a maze of light and dark. I stick to the deepest alleys, avoiding the glow of distant signs, of storefronts, of those horrible flickering bulbs. I don't know where I'm going, just away. The streets feel like they're shifting, like the world itself is twisting, pulling the distance longer whenever I look away. Then a voice, soft, hoarse, human. I stop, turn. A man is huddled in the corner of a doorway, hidden in the deepest shadows. His clothes are torn, his face gaunt with hunger. His eyes are wide, like he hasn't seen another person in days, maybe longer. You're alive. My voice is barely a whisper. He swallows hard. His lips are dry. He hasn't spoken in a long time. You? His voice cracks. He shakes his head. You shouldn't be out here. I glance back at the street. The light from the neon signs flickers. The figures beneath them haven't moved. Not yet. The man shifts slightly. His voice is urgent, desperate. You need to find deeper darkness. I frown. What are they? I whisper. He shudders. His gaze flickers toward the street, then back to me. His face is pale, drenched in sweat, terrified. They were like us, he murmurs. Before the light took them. The words sink into my skull, but they don't make sense. Before the light, I shake my head. The emergency alerts. His expression tightens. His hands tremble. You still believe the alerts? His voice is soft, bitter. They're not warnings. I frown. He looks past me. His entire body stiffens. I don't turn around. I don't want to. The street lamp behind me buzzes. The glow stretches longer. The shadows shrink. The man's voice drops to a whisper. Run. The bulb flickers, and something moves. The bulb flickers, and something moves. I don't stop to look. I run. The man behind me doesn't follow. I hear him suck in a sharp breath. A strangled, wet gasp. Then silence. I don't turn back. The streets warp around me as I move. The city feels like it's stretching, expanding. The alleyways are longer. The buildings feel taller. The windows like empty eyes staring down. The light wants me. The neon signs flicker in and out. The streetlights pulsing. Every time they do, the figures move closer, always beneath the glow, always waiting. I stick to the deepest shadows. I dart between crumbling buildings, through alleyways where the light doesn't reach. My lungs burn, my legs ache, but I don't stop. I turn a corner, a dead end. A brick wall rises ahead, too high to climb. My breath hitches, my vision blurs. I went the wrong way. The alley behind me brightens. The glow from a distant street lamp spills inward, buzzing, humming, coming closer. The air shifts. I grip my knife. There's nowhere to run. A single light bulb dangles from a rusted wire overhead. Dead. For now. Keep my back to the wall, knife held tight. My pulse pounds in my ears. My mind screams at me to move, but there's nowhere to go. The alley narrows. The light creeps closer, and then I see it. A figure steps beneath the glow. Tall. Wrong. Its arms are too long, its fingers too thin. It doesn't have a face, but I know it's looking at me. It stands beneath the street lamp, motionless. The light flickers, and it's closer. My stomach turns to ice. I press myself harder against the wall. I can't move. The bulb overhead shifts. A weak flicker. A dying gasp of light. I know what happens when it turns on. It will be here. And then, nothing. I squeeze my eyes shut. My heartbeat thunders in my skull. The air crackles. The light flickers. And then, darkness. I don't know how long I stand there. The alley stays black. The light never came on. I force my breath to slow. My legs tremble beneath me. I survived. I don't know how, but I did. I peel myself away from the wall, my body weak. The air is thick, heavy, pressing in around me. Something feels different. I can't see the street anymore. The alley behind me is gone. No buildings, no lights, no city, just shadow, deep, endless. Wrong. The darkness is too perfect. Not the kind of night you find in the world. No depth, no layers, just an absence. My hands clench into fists. I don't know where I am. I take a step forward. The ground beneath me doesn't feel real, like I'm standing on something that's barely there. Something moves inside the dark. Not a figure, not a creature. The darkness itself, rippling, shifting, watching. I swallow hard. My body wants to collapse, but I don't let it. I can't. I keep moving, because if I stop, I might not start again. I walk for what feels like hours, maybe days, maybe time doesn't exist here. I don't know. I don't let myself think about it. I keep moving, one step at a time. My stomach clenches. I need food, water. I won't last long like this. Then I see it, a light, not like the ones in the city, not flickering, not buzzing, a distant, pale glow. My heart hammers. My legs move faster. I don't care what it is. I don't care if it's another trap. It's something. I need something. As I get closer, I see it's a screen, a television, old, boxy, buzzing with static. It sits in the center of the endless dark, cables stretching into nothing. A chair sits in front of it. A man is slumped in the seat, still, not moving. I stop. My body screams at me to run, but I don't. I inch forward. The man doesn't react. His head is tilted toward the screen, his face frozen in silent horror. I step closer. The static changes. A voice crackles through the speakers. This is an emergency alert. My blood turns cold. The screen shifts. The static parts. A grainy image flickers to life. A live broadcast of a city, my city, a bird's eye view of the streets, the rooftops, the highways. But something is wrong. The city isn't empty. It's full of people, thousands of them, walking, moving, living, like nothing ever happened. My chest tightens. My mind spins. No, I was just there. It was empty. It was wrong, wasn't it? The voice crackles again. Stay in shadows. I can't breathe. The people on the screen move too smoothly, too perfect, like something imitating life but getting it just a little wrong. I watch as a streetlight flickers, and someone, a man, just like me, vanishes. 1 second he's walking, the next he's gone, erased, like he was never there. The screen distorts. The static screams. Then the image changes. The camera zooms in, closer, to a single alley, to a single shadow, to a man standing in the dark, a man holding a knife, a man staring at a screen. I see myself. My breath catches. The static pulses. And then the screen flickers to black. The screen flickers to black. My heart pounds. My breath comes in short, ragged gasps. I step back, my legs trembling. What did I just see? The television clicks. A mechanical whine. The static returns. Faint. Hissing. Alive. I glance at the man in the chair. He hasn't moved. Still frozen. Still locked in that expression of mute terror. I don't know if he's dead. I don't know if he was ever alive. The static shifts. A voice crackles through the speakers. Soft. Hollow.
Familiar.
My own voice. If you're hearing this, it's already too late. I stagger backward. No, that's impossible. That's not me. The screen glitches. The static screams. I don't wait to hear more. I turn and run. The darkness swallows me whole. I sprint blindly into the void, away from the screen, the chair, the man who never moved. The ground beneath me isn't real. It doesn't crunch, doesn't shift, doesn't feel like anything at all. I don't know if I'm moving forward or if the world is moving around me, but I don't stop. I can't. Somewhere behind me, the television buzzes louder. Somewhere behind me, the voice keeps talking. I don't listen. I just keep running. Then a light, small, distant, a faint pinprick in the vast nothing. I slow. It's not like the flickering streetlights, not like the glow that made people vanish. It's steady, constant. I move toward it. Each step feels heavier, like the darkness itself is holding me back. I push forward. The light grows brighter, and then I step through. I'm in the city again. The shift is instant, seamless. One moment I'm drowning in shadows. The next I'm standing in the middle of a familiar street. Streetlights hum overhead. Cars sit frozen in the roads, doors open, keys still in ignitions. Like the world was abandoned in an instant, like everyone just vanished. The neon signs glow, the traffic lights blink. It looks so normal, but it isn't. I can feel it. The air is too still, the shadows are too deep. And the worst part, I know I was just here, but the city is different now. Because this time, it's not empty. I see them in the distance. People walking the streets, sitting on benches, moving in and out of buildings. First, my heart leaps. I'm not alone. But then I watch them and I realize the truth. Their movements are too smooth, too synchronized. They stop at crosswalks. They check their watches. They sip coffee that doesn't steam. They're not real. They're acting as if the city is still alive, as if the world never ended. A man stands by a lamppost, reading a newspaper. A woman sits at a cafe, stirring a spoon in an empty cup. A child kneels on the pavement, tying and untying a shoe that has no laces. They never blink. They never acknowledge me. And the worst part, they all have shadows, but they're too perfect, sharp, unmoving, flat, like painted silhouettes, like something pretending to be human but forgetting how light works. My stomach churns. This isn't my city. This is a copy, a reflection, a place made of memory and imitation, a city that watches. I move carefully, keeping to the edges of the buildings. None of the actors react to me. They move through their routines, oblivious, artificial, but I know better than to trust it. This place is a trap, perfect lie, a waiting mouth. I need to find an exit. The air shifts, something changes. I don't notice it at first. Then the streetlights hum louder, the neon signs pulse, and in the distance, a figure steps into the glow, different from the others, not acting, not pretending, watching, waiting. It doesn't move, doesn't breathe, but I feel its attention. And then the streetlight flickers, and it moves. I back away. The figures in the city continue their routines, oblivious, unbothered. They don't notice the thing standing beneath the glow. They don't react when the light flickers and it moves closer. My pulse pounds. My breath hitches. I don't think. I just run. I shove past the actors. They don't resist. They don't react. They just reset. like puppets on invisible strings, like a looped simulation. The thing behind me doesn't run. It doesn't have to. The light moves for it. Street by street, the glow stretches, dragging it forward. I dive into an alley, gasping for breath. Shadows. I need shadows. A street lamp hums above me. I freeze. The bulb flickers. No, the thing is already there, closer than before. It doesn't walk. It doesn't turn. It just shifts. A whisper slithers through the air. Not words, not sound, just pressure. A force pressing against my skull. An expectation. I don't know what it wants, but I know what happens if the light stays on. I scramble backward, my hands clawing at the pavement. The bulb hums, then it flickers, and the thing moves. My body reacts on instinct. I throw myself to the side, into the deepest shadow. The light flares. A wave of static screams through the air, and then nothing. Silence. The hum of the street lamp is gone. I open my eyes. The alley is empty. The thing is gone. But I know it's not over, because now the actors have stopped moving. And for the first time, they're looking at me. They're all staring at me. Hundreds of them. The actors. The pretenders. Their glassy eyes fix on me. Their heads tilted at unnatural angles. They don't move. They don't blink. They just watch. The city has noticed me. I swallow hard, my body locking up. What do? A whisper slithers through the air. Not words, not sound, just pressure. The streetlights overhead hum louder, as if sensing my hesitation. The neon signs flicker erratically. The entire city pulses, like it's breathing. A slow, deep inhale. I take a step back, and the actors move. Their heads snap in unison. A sickening crackle of vertebrae, 100 necks twisting at once. They don't step forward. They don't rush me. They just shift. 1 second they're frozen, the next they're closer, like a skipped frame in a broken film. My heart pounds. They shouldn't be able to move like that. The woman with the empty coffee cup. The man with the newspaper. The child with the shoelaces. All of them, closer now, but their shadows don't move. Even as they shift, their silhouettes remain perfectly still. Unnatural. Wrong. I step backward into the alley, and they follow. I run. I don't think, I don't plan, I just run. I push past them, shove them aside. Their bodies give too easily, like empty shells, but they keep moving. No screams. No words, just silent, puppet-like pursuit. I bolt through the streets, my pulse hammering in my ears. The city stretches ahead of me, an endless maze of buildings and alleys, and the actors are everywhere, watching, waiting, as if they already know where I'm going. The air thickens. Something is coming. I don't look back. I find another alley. I dive into it, pressing myself into the darkest shadow. I clutch my knife tight. My chest heaves. The streetlights hum, and I feel it. The thing, standing just beyond the glow, waiting. It won't step into the dark. Can't. But it doesn't have to, because now the actors are here. I can hear them. Their footsteps don't sound right. No scuffing. No wait. Just the faint, hollow tap of something imitating the sound of walking. I press myself deeper into the shadow. They shouldn't be able to see me here. They shouldn't. But they stop at the alley's edge. Silent. Still. And then, one of them leans forward. A man in a crisp suit. His tie is slightly off-center. His fingers twitch at his sides. He steps just close enough for the glow of the street lamp to hit his face. And I see it. He doesn't have features. His eyes are too smooth. His mouth is just a faint indentation, like something forgot to finish making him. He tilts his head, sensing me, and then the light flickers, and he moves. I flinch back, but he doesn't reach for me. He doesn't try to drag me into the glow. Instead, he smiles, not with a mouth, with his shadow. The shape beneath his feet shifts, a jagged, warping grin stretching across the pavement. It shouldn't be possible. Shadows don't move on their own. They don't bend and shift without the body changing. But his does. A wide, gaping grin, mocking, knowing, and then, in a voice that sounds like mine, "You can't stay hidden forever." My stomach drops. I clutch my knife tighter. The shadows aren't safe anymore. I move, carefully, slowly, keeping to the darkness, but knowing now that it's not enough. The actors don't follow immediately, but they know where I am. They don't need to see me. They just know. The buildings loom overhead, The streets stretch endlessly. This place is a trap, a perfect copy of my city, twisted just enough to keep me lost. I need to find a way out, if there even is one. I spot a subway entrance. Dark. Empty. I hesitate. It's dangerous. Underground means fewer lights, but it also means no escape if something follows. But I don't have a choice. The actors are closing in. I slip into the station. The escalators aren't running. The air smells stale, old, abandoned. I take the steps 2 at a time, moving deeper. The platform is empty. The electronic schedule still hums with a fake timetable. Trains that don't exist. Destinations that aren't real. A garbled announcement crackles over unseen speakers. Something about delays. Something about passengers. And then a distant rumble. A train is coming. The lights in the tunnel glow faintly. A low, mechanical hum fills the station. I don't question it. I just move toward the edge of the platform, ready to jump aboard. But then I hear footsteps, not from the entrance, not from the stairs, from the tunnel. My breath catches, the tracks tremble, the rumble grows louder, and then something steps into view. Not a train, not an actor, something else, tall, shadow thin, and then another, and another, dozens of them crawling from the tunnel. They don't need light, they don't need to flicker forward, they're already here. The emergency broadcast wasn't just a warning, it was a rule. Stay in shadows, because once they find you, there's nowhere left to run. I back away from the platform edge. The figures in the tunnel keep coming. Tall, shadow thin. Their bodies don't move like flesh and bone. They fold. They bend. Their limbs elongate unnaturally as they step onto the tracks. Their heads tilt toward me, sensing me, but they have no faces, just dark, hollow impressions where eyes should be. The subway hums with false life. The overhead lights flicker. The PA system crackles. A voice, robotic, empty, murmurs through the speakers. Attention passengers. Remain on the platform. Do not attempt to board the arriving train. Do not acknowledge the passengers. Do not. The transmission cuts, and then a screech. Metal screaming against metal. A train is coming. I hear it before I see it. A distant, rhythmic clatter, growing louder. The air vibrates with its approach. The shadow things on the tracks don't move. They stand still, waiting. Then the headlights pierce the tunnel's darkness. Two bright, mechanical eyes. For a split second, I think I see figures inside, pressing against the windows. Too many hands, too many faces. The train doesn't slow down. It slams into the figures on the tracks, and they don't resist. They break apart like smoke. Not bodies, not real. The train plows through them without sound, without impact, like they were never there at all. The doors slide open, a soft chime plays, and the voice from the speakers returns. This is your last chance to board. I hesitate. I know this is a trap. I know nothing here is real, but I also know the actors are still coming. And if I stay here, I won't have a choice. I step inside. The doors hiss shut behind me. The interior is empty. Rows of seats, flickering advertisements, a faint antiseptic smell in the air. The lights overhead flicker erratically. The moment I sit, the train lurches forward. Fast. Too fast. The tunnel outside blurs into darkness. I don't know where it's taking me, or if there's even a destination. The windows reflect something that isn't me. A figure sitting in my seat, staring back. But I don't turn around. I keep my eyes on my reflection, because I know the second I look away, it will be closer. The train moves in silence. No conductor, no other passengers, just me, and the thing in my reflection. I force myself to breathe evenly, to stay still. I don't look at it directly, but I see it in my peripheral vision. It's not copying me, not exactly. This posture is slightly off. His fingers curl in ways mine don't. A delay, a glitch, like it's still learning how to mimic me. Then the lights overhead buzz louder, and the reflection grins. I can't stay here. I push myself up, move toward the next car. The doors between train cars shouldn't open while it's moving, but they do, silently, like they were expecting me. I step into the next car and freeze. It's full. People sit in every seat. Not actors, not the shadow things. Real people. A man in a trench coat reads a newspaper. A woman clutches a shopping bag. A teenager scrolls through a phone with a dead screen. They look normal, but they aren't, because none of them move. They sit perfectly still, like mannequins arranged in a scene, like they were placed here. And then I see their shadows, stretched wrong, pulled in directions the overhead lights don't allow. And I know they aren't real. They're waiting for me to sit down, to become one of them. I don't stop moving. I walk straight through the car, past the motionless figures. Their heads don't turn, their eyes don't blink, but I feel them watching. The next door slides open before I even touch it. I step into the third car, and this one is different. The walls are covered in eyes, not real ones, drawn, scratched, painted, thousands of them, glaring, watching. Some are smeared like someone tried to wipe them away. Others are fresh, ink still dripping. The air feels thicker, like stepping into a room already full of breath. A voice whispers through the speakers, "Do not be seen." The train jerks violently. The lights cut out, and I hear footsteps. They're inside the car with me, soft, deliberate. A click, click, click against the floor. I press myself against the wall. I can't see them, but they can see me. A shape moves in the darkness, not walking, gliding, flickering closer. I don't breathe. The thing stops. A whisper, right next to me. "Are you still here?" A question, a test. I don't answer. I don't move. The thing lingers. Then the lights flicker back on, and it's gone. I stagger forward. The last train car. A single seat sits in the center. A man is there. His head is bowed. His hands are clasped together. He doesn't move, but I recognize him. The man from the room. The one in the chair. The one who never moved. He lifts his head, and I finally see his face, or what's left of it. Hollow sockets where his eyes should be. His mouth stitched shut. A raw, gaping hole in his chest where his shadow should be. And then the train stops. The doors hiss open. A deep, endless darkness waits outside. And the man, in a voice that isn't his own, whispers, "You were never supposed to see this." And then the lights go out. The lights die. Total, absolute darkness. And the train is silent. The hum of the engine, the vibration of the tracks, gone. Like it was never moving at all. I don't breathe. I don't move. Because I know I'm not alone. The stitched mouth man doesn't shift. He doesn't stand. But something moves around him. Something in the dark. I hear it. A slow, wet drag against the floor. Not footsteps. Not hands. Something heavier. Like something pulling itself forward. I keep my back pressed against the door. The open exit is right there, leading into nothingness. No lights, no sounds, just a station that shouldn't exist. And the moment I think that, the voice on the speakers returns, a garbled, warbling echo of its usual tone. "You have reached your final stop. Please exit the train. You cannot stay here." I don't move, because I hear it, outside the doors, in the dark, something waiting, something hungry. The stitched mouth man twitches, his head lifts, his fingers tighten against his knees, and the shadows around him crawl. Not a trick of the light, not an illusion. They move, twisting toward me, stretching across the floor like hands reaching. The garbled PA clicks again. "Exit immediately. Do not delay. You cannot stay here." And then something claws at the roof of the train. A slow, scraping pull of jagged nails against metal. Whatever is outside is getting impatient, and I have a choice. Step into the darkness, or stay trapped with whatever is in here with me. I move. I don't think. I just run. Through the open doors, into the waiting dark. The air is thick. The platform stretches ahead of me, too wide, too long. No signs, no advertisements, no exits. The train behind me doesn't leave. Its headlights dim and flicker, like dying eyes. And then, a chime. The doors close, and the train vanishes. Not moves, vanishes, like it was never there at all. And I'm alone, except I'm not. I feel them, before I see them. Figures, lurking at the edge of the platform. Not moving, just waiting. They're wrong, too tall, too thin. Their bodies bend at angles that shouldn't exist. Their shadows twist separately, like their outlines don't match what they really are. I take a step back, and their heads snap toward me. I don't run, not yet, because something shifts in the distance. The tunnel, it's not empty. Something big is there, bigger than the train, bigger than the platform. A mass of shadows, moving, crawling, and as I stare into the blackness, I swear I see eyes, dozens, hundreds, blurry, shifting, watching, and then a sound. Not words, not a growl, but laughter, low, distant, warped, like something pretending to understand what laughter is. And I realize this thing isn't chasing me, it's playing with me. I need to move. I don't know where. There are no exits.
No staircases.
Just an endless platform and the shadows watching me. Then a single light flickers on. Further down, a station sign, glowing dimly. I squint, and my stomach drops, because it's my station, the one from my city. But that's not possible. I look behind me, the figures at the platform's edge. They're closer now. I run. I don't care if it's a trick. I don't care if it's another trap. I run toward the light. The air thickens around me. The platform stretches, growing longer, like the space itself is trying to trap me. The station sign flickers again, and I see it's changing. The letters melt, distort. Not my station, not any station I know. A name that doesn't exist. And then a voice, not from the PA, not from the shadows, from directly behind me. A whisper, "You were warned." I don't look. I can't look. Because if I do, I won't be me anymore. The floor trembles, the air cracks, and then everything is wrong. I'm not on the platform anymore. I'm standing in a city street, bright, blindingly bright. The sun overhead burns too hot. The street lights are on. Every building is lit. Windows glow with an unnatural radiance. And the shadows are gone. Not hidden, not stretched thin, gone. The city has no darkness left. And I know this is worse. So much worse, because the shadows weren't just hiding something, they were keeping something out, and now it's free. A deep, shuddering breath moves through the air. Not wind, not sound, something else. The ground shifts beneath me. A single voice echoes through the empty city. Not a whisper, not a warning, but a welcome. Now you see. I lift my head, and at the far end of the street, something is waiting, tall, blinding. A shape that shouldn't exist in light, but it does. It does now. And the last thing I understand before my mind fractures is that I never should have left the shadows. I stumble backward. The city is too bright. The sun overhead too large, too close. Every street lamp, every neon sign, every window, blazing with light. There is no night here.
No sabe.
No darkness to hide in. And at the far end of the street, the thing stands waiting, tall, shapeless, a silhouette that shouldn't exist in light, but it does. It does now, because the shadows are gone, and it was never the dark I had to fear. I turn, run. My footsteps echo too loudly. The pavement is too smooth. The buildings feel flat, like stage props set in place. Nothing feels real. Everything is too perfect. I reach a storefront, try the door. Locked. The glass is warm to the touch, like the light is cooking it from the inside. I glance back. The thing in the distance is closer, not walking, not moving, just nearer, like the space between us is shrinking, like the city itself is pulling it toward me. And then the streetlights flicker, and I hear it, not a voice, not words, something worse, a sound that isn't a sound, like light trying to speak. I slam my fists against the door, panic rising. The buildings glow searing white, the air warps with heat, and I realize the city isn't just bright, it's burning. The light isn't a comfort, it's a trap. The last defense against the shadows, broken. A noise erupts behind me, a deep hollow hum, like something breathing. I don't turn around, I can't. I just keep pushing forward. Then a shadow flickers, a small one, barely there, beneath the overhang of a shattered bus stop. I lunge for it, collapse into the sliver of darkness, and the noise stops. The heat vanishes, the air stills, the world outside the shadow distorts. The thing in the light stops, not moving closer, not stretching forward, just watching, like a lion waiting outside a cage, like it knows I can't stay here forever. I breathe, I force my mind to work. What happened? The subway, the train, the warnings, stay in shadows. That was the rule, and now there aren't any left, except this one. But how? Why is there still one place to hide? Then I see it, something scratched into the pavement. A message, a warning, scrawled in frantic, uneven letters. They erased the darkness. Don't let them erase you too. The shadows weren't just hiding things. They were the only thing keeping this world together. The moment they vanished, the city stopped being real. Only the light exists now, and the thing that walks in it. The first thing, the oldest thing, the one that should have never been allowed to return. The shadow I'm hiding in is shrinking. I feel it, closing in. The sun moves too fast. The angles of the buildings shift unnaturally. The city itself is trying to erase the last of the dark, trying to erase me. And when that happens, I won't exist anymore. Not dead, not gone, unmade. I can't let that happen. There has to be a way out. There's always a way out, but only if I make one. I scan the streets, look for anything, and then I see it. A manhole cover, half hidden beneath the glaring light. A way underground, a place where the shadows might still exist. The only problem? I have to leave my one safe spot to get to it. The light stirs, like it knows what I'm about to do. The thing in the distance shifts. I don't think, I just move. I burst from the shadow, sprint for the manhole cover. The moment I leave the dark, the city screams. The air warps, the buildings twist toward me. The sun burns hotter. The thing in the light, it moves. Not walking, not running, just arriving. Too fast, too impossible. And I know it's going to reach me first. Unless I make a shadow, I rip off my jacket, throw it to the ground before me. It lands, a small patch of darkness. Not much, barely there, but just enough. I leap, land in the tiny shadow, and the thing stops, just inches away. It looms over me, humming, shifting, waiting for the last of the dark to fade, waiting for me to run out of places to hide. I don't wait. I rip open the manhole cover. The tunnels below, pitch black, a drop into nothingness. I don't hesitate. I jump, falling. The light above vanishes. The city, the thing, the sky, gone, replaced by cold, by darkness. I hit the ground, hard, dirt, concrete, the scent of damp earth, and then a voice from the blackness, low, hollow. You were not supposed to survive. I freeze, and the dark moves, shapes shifting, figures tall, thin, silent. The same ones from before, the ones in the subway tunnels. They were never trying to hurt me. They were trying to save me, because they knew the real enemy wasn't them. It was above, in the city, in the light. One of the figures steps forward, a whisper, stay hidden, a pause, stay in shadows. And then the darkness swallows me whole, and the world resets.